Our neighbor Keichiko-san has a habit of saying, "Let me have that, let me have that," and my grandmother, who lives with me, would always indulge her. However, she'd never give away her own things. She would give away my mother's belongings without my mother's permission. She has also given my things away twice. Here you go. So far, she's taken my mother's bag, face lotion, Dior eyeshadow, prayer beads, fountain pens, cashmere scarves, and wristwatches. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you didn't need it anymore, so I gave it away. Of course, I lock my room to keep my belongings safe, but a little nagging from my grandmother, my father, lets her inside. I can't even count how many times she's given away our food. While my mother is at work, grandmother would answer the door for delivery and then hand the package to someone else. Look away for a split second and only 1/3 of the food we spent hours to cook would be left. Enough is enough! This dinner was for us! When my mother and I scolded her, she would weep in order to gain my father's sympathy.
That's no way to treat an elderly!
I didn't mean any harm.
You should consider her feelings a little more.
My mother and I have endured this situation for a long time. If this continues for years, it will become extremely stressful. Knowing there is a thief in our own home makes me so anxious. What do we do? At the time, we didn't have the guts to run away, and so we got used to living this way. But everything changed on that one fateful day. The moment we realized that gyoza we worked so hard to make was gone, we lost the ability to care anymore. Beer and gyoza, beer and gyoza? What the? I guess that's it. Yup, I'm done. We packed our things and left the house before father came home. Because it was winter break, the next day I decided to spend time with my maternal grandparents. My mother contacted her employer and was able to arrange for her to move into the company dorm the following month. I'm not sure why we didn't do this sooner, or why the gyoza was the final straw. But well, handmade gyoza is really delicious. Besides, we had our one joy, gyoza, taken away from us after coming home from work and working so hard to make it. That feeling of despair, it was no surprise we exploded. I had a great time in my grandparents' house. It was New Year's Day, so I got an ostostima, New Year's money, and spent time with my cousins, whom I hadn't seen in a long time. I got a confusing message from my father. Apparently, he believes I was adopted by my mother and her parents.
Are you alright? I'll be sure to take custody of you.
What the heck is he going on about?
To think she would kidnap you. Hurry and come home!
At first, I ignored my father's messages, but then he began sending abusive messages.
Stop fooling around and come home! Like mother, like daughter, you stupid child!
He got on my nerves, so I decided to fight back as well. I'm glad I got to meet my maternal grandparents. I don't have to worry about my things getting stolen. Plus, they're really nice. I've never seen them badmouth anyone. You poor things. You guys have no idea what a happy family is like because you guys are such jerks, constantly slandering mom. But don't get wrapped up with your pitiful existence. After that last message, he stopped texting me. Winter break came to an end, and I moved into my mother's dorm room. One day, as I was leaving school, I was met by my father, who was waiting for me at the gate. I frantically called my mother. She was still working, so my mother's friend came to pick me up instead. My father confronted us as we tried to make our way through the gate.
I want to talk.
I'll hear what you have to say, but not without Auntie.
What? Why should I have to have an outsider?
A good parent should respect their daughter. Come now, we can discuss matters at a family restaurant. My mom's friend took charge and protected me all the way. My father began to speak, glancing at Auntie occasionally.
So how are you?
I'm doing better than ever, as you can see. I even gained 2 kilos. I was extremely thin as a result of a certain someone stealing all the food in my house. In the house. Don't you recall? That's right. My father and grandmother would eat a hearty meal, leaving us to eat what little leftovers were left.
I've realized how much I rely on you. Please come back. I'll die at this rate.
No way. Living with you guys will put me in an early grave.
I'll buy you that Sylvanian Families toy you've always wanted.
That's from like when I was in 3rd grade. The fact that you only remember that is just... no thanks. Why don't you get back all the items grandmother gave away instead?
Ugh, so annoying.
Father clicked his tongue. That attitude towards a child. Unbelievable. Guess you are finally showing your true colors. I'm going to tell everyone about this. Now, if you'll excuse us. My mother's friend runs a piano cram school and has a great influence on the neighborhood. Knowing this, my dad panicked, but Auntie paid him no mind. And so we left the restaurant. Father was able to endure living with grandmother for 4 months, but it seems he couldn't take it anymore when Keichiko-san and her son started to come over and drink all of his whiskey. Grandmother tried her best to restrain herself at first, but it appears she couldn't control her urges. And so she started giving away father's things without hesitation as well. I'll never understand how that mind of hers works, stealing from others to please another. Turns out Mom received a message from father on the 5th month.
It's not too late. Could you please take me back? To be unable to enjoy the sight of this beautiful moon with you, I realized how stupid and foolish I was in the past. I've lost sight of what's really important to me.
Ugh, cringe. Of course, my mother didn't reply back like Juliet. I guess I wasn't even considered a member of the family until now, huh? I also responded, even if Mom were to forgive you, there's no way in hell I will. I don't ever want to live with you and grandmother again. I don't need a family of bandits.
You'll regret this! Don't come crying to me when you do!
My father's reply made me sigh at how pathetic he is. To top it all off, he refused to sign the divorce papers and gave us such a hard time even with a mediator. Just how pitiful can this man be? By the time they finally got a divorce, I was already a sophomore in high school. Furthermore, I heard a rumor that Keichiko-san was moving. That's when it hit me. If you really think about it, you could say it was her fault my parents got a divorce in the first place. Strangely enough, I had no grudges against her. That being said, of course I don't ever want to get involved with her. If anything, I'm glad that my parents got divorced. I learned a valuable lesson and have decided that I definitely don't want to marry a man like him. I have a boyfriend now, but he is nothing like my father. His mother was a kind and cheerful person with common sense too. Of course, we are far from getting married. But I've decided to look at this as a great life lesson and live positively.
Thanks for watching! Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Bye!